What's up, guys? This is Hot Diet 7 RCT Gaming, bringing you another video for you guys. Things are moving along pretty well. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. Today I wanted to do another one for the Retro Minis Neo from Team Retro. Given that anybody who has been coming in to watch, view the content that I make should know by this point, if you look at all of the videos that I've done so far, how much of a Nintendo fan I am. Not to be confused with Nintendo fanboy. Thankfully, I got rid of that plague or that ickiness that is being a fanboy of a certain brand exclusively. That applies to everything in life, guys. If you stick to just one thing, you're gonna miss out in a ton of other stuff. That said, I do have, even though I'm not a complete fanboy to Nintendo, I do have this amazing amount of respect for what they've done for the industry and for games in general. And I just absolutely, I don't know, if I'm looking for a justification to love their games so much that I tell myself that, or if it's true, I'll leave that up to you to judge. But that's not what this video is all about. This video is about precisely the Nintendo Gamecube, which is one of my top favorite systems from Nintendo themselves. So the representation of the Nintendo Gamecube on the Retro Mini Neo. So we're gonna boot that up so you can start seeing how nicely done and incorporated is in this. Now, for those of you who have never seen this build before, I'll add that basically all you have to do is go to their Discord, and on their download page you're gonna find the Retro Mini Neo, which is a small build that has several systems already in them. Do not go by what I have here, because I have added some extra packs to it. But all you need to know is that basically this build has, or is powered by Retro FE, combining Retro FE with something that a lot of people do not like to mess with, and that is Rocket Launcher. Now, if there's one thing, if I only had a chance to say one good thing about this, which is completely ridiculous because there's so many nice things about this that it would take me a long time to list, but if I had one thing good to say about this, is that they basically dominate Rocket Launcher in their build. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate on Rocket Launcher, but not only do they implement it well, but they also use some of the features that a lot of people do not bother with, like the pause functions. And that I've shown in other videos that I've done from them, particularly around the Nintendo 64 and Nintendo 64 HD. But in the case of GameCube, you're gonna see here the build. In my opinion, the more I keep using it, the more I appreciate fine little details. It's not over the top. It's not completely crazy. It's not cluttered. Of course, the user interface is not cluttered. You simply mark over a game. You see a little video. You see the logo, and in the background you see some art from that game. You see very clear instructions in the bottom part of the screen, which tells you what buttons to use to navigate around. You have the number of games on the top right corner, little clock there as well. It's very, very nice. And I also have to also highlight the fact of how they go about configuring their emulators is top notch. I'm a person, and I will say it again as many times as necessary, I love to tinker with stuff. I love to tweak and try to make it, you know, if it comes standard in one way, I just tweak it around to make it look better, make it sound better. I've had very little need to do tweaking on what they come up with. You know, the base build, I've done very little tweaking except for just adding games and maybe some settings here and there to, because right now I'm playing on a 4K monitor, which is another thing. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't have to worry about my configurations going haywire because I changed from 1080p to 4K, which is a plus. But let's start small. Let's go into Monkey Ball here to show you guys the complete transition. I don't need to edit or do anything because, of course, since it has Rocket Launcher, it has that nice little loading screen before taking you to the main gaming screen. Nice bezel. The scan lines are very subtle, which I appreciate. There's people who love to have that full-on scan effect, and that's cool and all, you know, if you want that CRT effect or whatever. I don't miss the old TVs, to be honest. The better it looks for me, you know, I'll take it as long as it looks really good. But here, taking into consideration that this is still not a full HD system, it complements well having the scan lines, subtle scan lines in there to make it more authentic. But in terms of the games themselves, before going into this, of course, you have the pause menu, which I was kind of rambling about it in the beginning, which by pressing the left shoulder button and Y, you go into. Now this is where, like, if you're really into games and into the history, this is something that you're gonna appreciate a lot. I've covered this in the past with other packs, but I like to mention it so people are constantly aware, because I don't know what video you're gonna end up watching in the end. So it's nice that you have a full view of what this build has to offer. Now here in the pause menu, basically you have the controller, which is going to show you configurations for both type of Xbox controllers. That's self-explanatory. But in this case, for GameCube, you have save states. Save states, which you can save directly here by entering the pause menu, and when you want to load, you just come back here and you load from the slots. 3 slots. That's more than enough. You also have artwork, different screenshots if you like all of that. So it acts, again, it acts in many ways like a little museum for those people who just want a little bit more than just playing the game straight up. You can have that here. This, which I'm very fond of because I love the old school magazines. Would love to see some Game Fan magazines in here as well, because that's one of the magazines that I loved the most back in the day. But it's super awesome. You pick and choose whatever page you want, press A, and you can see it, you know, in a larger capacity where you can actually read what's going on. Then press B to get out. And not only that, you have guides and you have instructions. The guys, they go all out when it comes to the pause menu. They go really all out to be as thorough as possible, which is something that you simply don't find in other more, let's say, more prominent or more talked about builds out there. Now, going back, you have manuals, and one of my favorite features here, which are the videos. In this case, you have even the Monkey Ball, which is the game that we loaded right now, and you get to see it in full screen, which is super cool. Something really nice to have. Aside from those, You have the actual Nintendo Gamecube commercials, which you can peruse, you know, on your own time, having fun with that. Sound control, statistics, a lot of game information here. So yeah, there is a lot to actually like and appreciate and go through in the pause menu. Now, of course, this does not, since this is something that takes a lot of time and effort and work, getting it done, getting it to work properly, it does not apply to all of the games or systems necessarily. For that, if you want to be sure which ones include that type of extras and stuff, it's best to go to their Discord, and they'll graciously tell you if you have a question or whatever about the build. They'll help you out. They're pretty friendly people, really nice. I'm having tons of fun there, so go right ahead and do that. Now let's get out of the pause menu and go into for a quick round here so I can show you the actual game running. Let's do a quick one here. Let's do normal mode, one player of course. Let's use the main character. Let's do advanced. So of course, emulation for GameCube. There is no other better place to go, if there is any alternative out there. At least I don't know of. Best place to get your emulation for this is Dolphin, of course. That's one of my favorite, if not the favorite emulator that I have for everything GameCube and Wii. And right now, it's set up in a way that looks really good. The games are running at a nice frames per second without having to touch or mess around with the settings, which I appreciate. Ready? Let's do another one here. Oh, that's it for II. Ready? Alright, let's do this. Alright, so let's go outside and pick another one. Now, of course, the beauty of this is not only that they pick a pretty good selection, because they're trying to keep the amount or the number of games very low in order to make it a lot easier for you to download and stuff. You don't have to worry about tons and tons of gigabytes, which I understand and I do appreciate the intent. A lot of us, we kind of like having the bigger build so we don't have to worry about that. But the way it's set up is so intuitive that adding your own games and art is really not that difficult. So I see myself adding my collections from other builds and adding them here with the proper art and have it run, and I have to duplicate or take more space than needed. So let's go into F-Zero GX here. Now in my user case specifically, I've known, like in the past, it happens to me a lot, especially since I'm using just one computer to record and to actually play the game. I used to get a lot of stuttering, a lot of hiccups, a lot of frame rate going down in areas, And this is so nicely configured that I really didn't have to bother with that at all. I'm doing the actual recording here while I'm talking with you guys and playing the game. And it is configured in a way where it takes advantage of my, my setup, my hardware, without taxing it too much. You are gonna see or notice a little bit of stutter perhaps, but not as bad or nearly as bad as it happens to me while trying to record other builds. Of course, all of that can be configured within the emulator itself. All I'm trying to point out is that at least for this one, I did not have to do much tweaking, if any at all. Let's go, let's go. Come on, give me boost power, baby. Boost power. Oh yeah. How I wish that Nintendo would bring this out in HD, or at least, modernize it a little bit so we can have this. Because it's been a while, even though the game is pretty old, it still holds up so well. And there you have it. First place, and everything smooth as butter. Alright, let's do one more. Let's check around here. Actually, I want to show you guys the save and load function. That would be something to end the video in a very high note. Let's load up Metroid Prime. And as soon as we load up, I'm going to go into the pause menu. And we move from controller, the save game. As you can see there, I have a save in the first save slot. Just move to load, pick the one that I saved, and just allow it to load. And here I am, exactly where I left it. So you at the very least have the option of not having to worry about key combinations or shortcuts for saving and loading, or worrying about touching the keyboard if you don't have one nearby. It is a system that is very intuitive and that I appreciate a lot. It's very, very cool. And as you can see here, it's moving around really well. Again, that is an area right here when you turn into a ball that tends to stutter quite a bit. Not in this case. So there you have it, Metroid Prime. This is one of the systems that I see myself adding all my collection into this, even if I go out of my way to get some art, so I don't have any blank spaces or anything like that here. I did do that with 3DS, which I haven't covered yet, but I did do that with 3DS. Let me show it to you at the very least. So you can see, if you look at the top right corner, you're gonna see it says 35. Of course, it comes with a lot fewer than that, the 3DS pack. So I added my own art to the games that, of course, I added to the base pack that you download. So as I say, it's very, very easy once you get into terms of where everything is situated. And yeah, guys, that is going to be all for now in terms of Team Retro's Retro Mini Neo and the GameCube pack. So I will be back soon with another pack. They tend to be releasing packs at a very nice pace, which I appreciate. So if you want to keep in touch with development of packs and builds from the guys at Team Retro, please go over to their Discord and join up and say hi to the guys. They're very friendly and very, very nice, and that's something that, you know, that's always welcome, to be in a friendly environment. So take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.